You know that friend who always has a list?
Oh, sure. Like a grocery list or...
No, no, not a grocery list. I mean, one of those deeply aspirational, things I will do when things calm down
Oh,
lists.
yeah. Right. The someday list.
Exactly. I was looking at one of these the other day with a friend, and this specific list was, I kid you not, 9 years old.
Wow. 9 years.
Yeah. It had survived 3 apartments, a couple of job changes, even a marriage.
Yeah.
And the items on it were genuinely beautiful. It was things like learn to play the cello, call their brother more often, write a novel, go to Lisbon.
But let me guess. Nothing was crossed off.
Not a single thing. Over 9 years, the list had essentially become this, display case where their life went to be admired instead of actually lived.
Yeah. It functions as the ultimate waiting room. We sit there, politely reading magazines, waiting for our name to be called.
Yeah.
And we just sort of pretend we don't realize that we are actually the only ones holding the key to the door.
Okay, let's unpack this, because that waiting room is the exact paradox we're exploring in today's deep dive.
And it's a big one.
It really is. So we're pulling from a fascinating stack of sources today, mostly centered around Boris Krieger's book, The Deferred Self, Sartre, and the existentialism of the 21st century. And the mission here is to combine sociology, neuroscience, and, mid-century French philosophy to answer one incredibly frustrating question.
Right. Which is, why do we, sitting here right now, have more choices than literally any generation before us, and yet somehow we end up living fewer actual lives?
Exactly. We just rehearse, we optimize, we postpone.
And to answer that, Krieger uses the philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre. But, and I think this is crucial, he doesn't treat Sartre as some dusty academic relic that you just have to memorize for a test.
Right. No jargon required.
Exactly. He uses Sartre's concepts as a tuning fork. You strike a tuning fork to sound a single, reliable note, and then you hold it up against the noise of the world to hear what rings true and what rings false.
I love that analogy.
Yeah, so we are going to strike that philosophical fork against our modern algorithms, our digital notifications, and, well, just our everyday anxieties.
Which means we really have to start at the source of that anxiety. Because to understand why we're hiding in this waiting room, deferring our lives, we first have to understand the terrifying nature of the freedom we are actually running from.
Right. And to get there, we have to look at Sartre's foundational wager. It's summarized in just 4 words. Existence precedes essence.
Existence precedes essence. Okay, break that down for us.
Think about a manufactured object, like a paper knife. Before anyone makes a paper knife, they have an idea of what it is for.
Yeah.
It has a blueprint, a purpose, an essence.
Right. You don't just accidentally build a paper knife.
Exactly. It's brought into existence specifically to fulfill that predetermined purpose. And for most of human history, people just assumed we were made the exact same way, that some cosmic artisan, or just the natural order of things, had a blueprint for us before we were even born.
But Sartre says we need to flip that entirely, right? For human beings, existence shows up first. We just arrive.
We just arrive.
We are raw matter with absolutely no cosmic job description and, no predetermined blueprint.
Exactly. We exist first. And only afterward, through our ongoing actions and our choices, do we write our own essence.
Wow. Okay, so that means freedom is not some lovely gift wrapped in a bow.
No, not at all. Sartre actually said we are condemned to be free.
Condemned. That's a heavy word.
It is. It's a sentence. You didn't choose to be born free, but now that you are here, you cannot stop choosing. Every second is a choice. And that brings a very specific kind of nausea or vertigo.
Vertigo, like the fear of heights.
Yeah, imagine standing at the edge of a steep cliff. The fear isn't just the physical height. The real existential terror is the sudden realization that the only thing stopping you from throwing yourself off is your own spontaneous decision not to.
Oh, man. That makes me think of playing one of those massive open-world video games.
Oh, that's a great comparison.
Right, because when you read the back of the box, it sounds amazing. You can do anything, go anywhere. But when you actually load into the game and there is absolutely no main quest line, exactly, no objective markers, no map telling you where the story is, it goes from fun to completely paralyzing in about 10 seconds. Because if there's no path, every single step you take requires a definitive choice that you alone have to answer for. You can't just, follow the script.
That paralysis, that is the vertigo of freedom.
Yeah.
But we do have to be careful to ground this, because existentialism isn't the philosophy of a sunny motivational poster.
Right. It's not The Secret.
Exactly. Sartre isn't claiming that you can magically do or be anything just by wishing for it. He deeply acknowledges the brute resistance of the physical and social world. He calls it our situation.
Okay, the situation.
Yeah, but his core argument is that within any given situation, even if you are unjustly locked in a prison cell, you retain the absolute freedom to choose your bearing toward it. Will the confinement break you, or will it deepen you? The wall itself has no opinion. Only you do.
But bearing the weight of that responsibility, like 24/7, sounds exhausting. We can't constantly reinvent our essence every time we wake up.
No, we'd collapse.
Right. And that leads directly to the defense mechanism humans invented to cope with this vertigo. Because the cliff edge is so terrifying, we actively lie to ourselves to make the world feel safe and predetermined.
Yeah.
Like, I'll hit the snooze button at 6 a.m. and groan, I'm just not a morning person. I take a free choice that I am making in that exact second, and I dress it up as a fake biological fact so I don't have to take responsibility for it.
That is a perfect, everyday illustration of what Sartre called bad faith. It is the lie we tell to escape ourselves. You freeze a verb into a noun. You aren't choosing to sleep in. You are a non-morning person.
Right. It's a fixed identity.
Exactly. Sartre's most famous example of this was a cafe waiter who overacts his role. He balances the tray a little too perfectly. He moves a little too crisply. His voice is a little too deferential.
Wait, why is he doing that? Just to be good at his job?
No, he's playing at being a waiter. He's trying desperately to convince himself and his customers that he is an object-a-waiter thing rather than a free human consciousness who is merely choosing to wait tables for the afternoon.
Oh, I see. Because objects don't have to make terrifying life choices.
Precisely. A tray doesn't worry about its wasted potential.
Wow. Okay, wait. So you're saying the someday list from the beginning of the deep dive isn't just harmless procrastination. It's actually an active defense mechanism. We are using our own goals as a shield.
Yes, absolutely. In Sartre's day, you had to invent your own private bad faith, like the waiter. But Krieger points out that in the 21st century, bad faith has been industrialized. It has been scaled up into a massive business model. We now live in what he calls the someday economy.
The someday economy.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're listening to this on your commute right now, think about the subscriptions hitting your credit card this month. How many of those are you paying for just to soothe the guilt of not acting today?
Well, the January gym membership is the classic example of that.
Yes. The entire financial model of large commercial gyms relies on you never actually showing up. You aren't paying for physical fitness. You are paying a monthly subscription fee for a future version of yourself. As long as you pay the fee, you get to feel like the kind of person who works out without ever having to, actually lift a weight.
Or look at the booming industry of four-letter personality quizzes and corporate psychological assessments.
Oh, yeah. The Myers-Briggs stuff.
Exactly. They hand you a neat label and say, this is who you are, and it acts as a permission slip. Someone might say, well, I don't have to have that difficult, vulnerable conversation with my partner because I'm an introvert, and this is just how I'm wired.
It's the snooze button excuse again.
Yeah, right. We pay good money for industries to relieve us of our freedom. We outsource our essence to an algorithm or a test result.
I'm trying to wrap my head around the self-improvement aspect of this, though, because isn't planning to be better fundamentally a good thing? If we're buying courses, reading books, building habit trackers, doesn't that mean we have a project? We are aiming at something, which feels very existential.
So Krieger draws a vital distinction here between a true project and a parasitic one.
The parasitic project.
Yeah. A genuine project, in the existential sense, is the forward lean of a life that translates immediately into action. It is the arrow in flight. But the someday economy thrives on parasitic projects.
What does that look like?
The arrow is drawn back on the bowstring. The tension feels incredible. The posture is beautiful. But the arrow is never actually loosed.
Oh, wow.
The self-help industry fundamentally needs you to remain in a state of perpetual preparation. A realized customer is a lost customer. They are selling you the feeling of profound change without the terrifying risk of actually having change.
So if we are too terrified to sit in the present and make a definitive choice, how do we distract ourselves? I mean, the someday economy only survives if we're constantly pulled away from the present moment. If we actually sat still in the now, we would realize we need to loose the arrow.
Exactly. And this leads us right into how modern technology has physically altered our experience of time. We are seeing the total theft of now.
The theft of now, because everything is just moving so fast.
Krieger argues we live in a world defined by extreme acceleration and liquidity. The ground of the present moment is moving so fast that it's been thinned out. You can't plant your feet. And because our lives are so liquid, you know, jobs change every 2 years, cities change, relationships are swiped away, we start to treat commitment as a failure of imagination.
We want to keep our options open.
Right. We convince ourselves that keeping our options open is the most rational, optimized strategy. But keeping your options open forever just means you are half committing to 100 different things, and ultimately, you are starving in the middle of a buffet.
And it is literally changing our physiological wiring, too. The book talks about the phantom buzz.
Oh, everyone has felt this.
Yeah, you swear your phone just vibrated in your pocket, you reach down, and nothing is there. Sometimes the phone is sitting on a table across the room.
Yep.
Our nervous systems have been physically rewired to expect and hallucinate constant interruption. We are turning into what Krieger calls punctuated selves.
And that phantom buzz is the physical manifestation of the death of the pause. And the pause is critical. The gap between a stimulus happening to you and your response to it, that microscopic silence, is where your freedom actually lives.
Because if you have no pause, you cannot choose. You can only react.
Precisely.
I see this constantly with how we capture memories now. Think about the unwatched sunset.
Oh, the unwatched sunset. This is such a modern tragedy.
It really is. You see people standing in front of a breathtaking, once-in-a-lifetime sunset, but they are watching it through the screen of their phone so they can record it for later.
Right.
They are sacrificing the only moment that sunset can actually be physically experienced, archiving it for a later that structurally never arrives because they will just be recording something else tomorrow.
The uncomfortable truth Krieger points out is that we actually welcome the interruption. We're deeply complicit in this. The interruption economy kills the pause, yes, but we eagerly hand it the knife.
Wait, why would we welcome that?
Because the silence of an unfilled pause is agonizing.
Mm-hmm.
If you sit alone in an empty room for 10 minutes with no phone, no music, and no notifications, eventually the vertigo creeps in.
Oh, the cliff edge.
Yes. You have to ask yourself the terrifying questions. Is this the life I meant to lead? What am I actually doing with my time? We crave the buzz of the phone to save us from our own freedom.
So our present moment is shattered, the pause is gone, and we are avoiding our own questions. Who steps in to make the choices we are too afraid to make?
This is where the machines take over.
Right. Let's look at the concept of the digital double, because this really blew my mind.
It's intense. Right now, sitting on a server farm somewhere, there is an algorithmic version of you made entirely of data points.
Yeah.
Every link you've clicked, every video you've paused on for an extra second, every late-night purchase.
It knows.
It knows. And unlike your flattering aspirational self-image, this digital double is a flawless, unsparing record of your actual past behavior.
Sartre would probably love the algorithm in a dark way because it judges our actions, not our intentions. It doesn't care about your 9-year list of things you plan to do. It cares about what you clicked on yesterday.
That's exactly it. But this creates what Krieger calls a new determinism. The algorithm predicts what you want, and then it paves the groove. It makes the predicted choice entirely frictionless. It queues up the next video, it pre-fills the cart.
And it makes the free, unpredicted choice incredibly costly in terms of effort. It's like this anti-freedom engine that methodically eliminates surprise from your life.
And this is where it stops being just a philosophical metaphor and becomes a neurological reality. The book brings up the plastic brain.
Yes, neuroplasticity, the idea that our brains physically wire and prune their neural pathways based on our repetitive actions.
Right. If the machine is always making the choice for you, the neural pathways required to make difficult, unpredicted, friction-heavy choices actually begin to atrophy.
Wow. So the algorithm isn't just changing your social media feed, it's physically altering your brain's biological capacity to exercise free will.
Exactly. The self isn't a buried treasure you excavate. You are growing your physical brain through your daily choices.
But hold on, let me play devil's advocate for a second on behalf of the critics of this whole framework, because the book addresses this, and I think it's important. Isn't this "you are absolutely free to choose your path" mindset a bit of a luxury?
It's a very common pushback.
Yeah, like if someone is working 3 gig economy jobs just to pay rent or living under oppressive political structures, telling them they have the absolute freedom to choose their life feels a little out of touch, doesn't it? Is existential freedom just a privilege for the comfortable?
It is the most crucial objection to this entire philosophy. And Krieger addresses it very carefully in the source material. He makes it absolutely clear. Material constraints, poverty, and systemic oppression are brutally real and deeply unequal. They dictate the size and shape of the room you are standing in, but the book's stance is that those constraints do not entirely erase the margin of free response within that room. To tell an oppressed person that they're purely a victim of circumstance with zero freedom is to deny them their fundamental human dignity. It reduces them to an object.
Right, like the waiter thing again.
Yes. But at the same time, to tell them that because they have inner freedom they shouldn't fight for justice is a complete obscenity. True existentialism demands that we fight the structures that strangle human freedom.
So the book argues that freedom isn't an abstract luxury. It is the universal dignity that makes fighting oppression violently necessary in the first place.
Precisely. It's a very nuanced line to walk, but Krieger handles it by saying you have to acknowledge the walls, but never surrender your right to push against them.
That's a really interesting way the author frames it. It's not about ignoring the walls, it's about recognizing your agency to tear them down. So if we pull all of this together, if we dismantle the bad faith, if we reclaim the pause from our phones, if we fight the algorithm, what does a healthy, free life actually look like in the 21st century? Because it's not the cliche of the lonely philosopher smoking in a Parisian cafe, staring into the abyss by himself.
No, not at all. The lone stoic hero is a myth we have to let go of.
Yeah.
Krieger argues that the new existentialism must be an existentialism of interdependence. We are not isolated atoms. We are, as he puts it, a knot in a net.
A knot in a net. I like that.
We are constituted by our relationships.
Yeah.
And that shifts the focus entirely toward empathy and tenderness.
This makes me think of that incredible case study in the book about the caregiver's hand.
Oh, that is such a powerful example.
Right. Picture someone sitting in a sterile hospital room, holding the hand of a dying person who might be unconscious and might not even know they are there. In the grand scheme of things, the universe does not care. The cosmos is utterly indifferent to that gesture. It doesn't fix the illness. It doesn't change the biological outcome.
But that is exactly why it matters. You see, early Sartre viewed other people as a threat to personal freedom. He called it the look, where other people turn you into an object of their judgment.
Hell is other people.
Exactly. But Krieger updates this for today. Empathy is beholding the other person as an equal mystery. The caregiver's hand is an act of defiant tenderness. You are creating meaning, warmth, and dignity out of thin air in a universe that owes you absolutely neither.
Because it is unnecessary, it is the ultimate free act.
Yes. He also contrasts this with two different ways of laughing and two different ways of being alone.
Oh, the two laughs at the funeral.
Right. There is the cynic spark, the irony-poisoned laugh we see all over the internet that just punctures everything, takes no risks, and essentially says nothing matters.
It's safe.
It is safe. But then there's the warm laugh of connection, like people laughing at a funeral because they remember a ridiculous joke the deceased used to tell. They are choosing lightness despite the crushing reality of the situation.
And what about the two ways of being alone?
He talks about the two cells. The prisoner's cell, which is isolating confinement forced upon you, versus the monk's cell, which is chosen generative solitude where you actually meet yourself.
And practically speaking, how do we transition from a prisoner cell to a monk cell in our daily lives? Because right now our society sort of operates in this hollow middle ground.
Yeah, we really do.
We are surrounded by perpetual, shallow contact through screens. We don't get the generative depth of true solitude, but we also don't get the real holding nourishment of true connection. We just get, a million notifications.
Moving to the monk's cell means intentionally leaving the phone in another room. It means sitting with the discomfort of the unfilled pause until the vertigo fades and it becomes a space for actual thought.
It's about adopting what Krieger calls a style of presence, choosing the harder, softer path.
I love that phrase, the harder, softer path.
Me too. He uses two Greek words for time that really clarify this, chronos and kairos. Chronos is clock time. It's the ticking second hand, the schedule, the optimization.
The 9-year list.
Exactly. We are drowning in chronos. But kairos is live time. It's stepping into the depth of a moment and granting things the right to simply be.
When you look at a beautiful sunset, or a friend, or even just a quiet morning, kairos means refusing to view them as tools for your own optimization or, content for your feed. It is refusing to live your life merely as a means to an end that never actually arrives.
And that brings us perfectly back to where we started. The tuning fork of existential philosophy still rings completely true against the noise of our modern world. We are still terrified of our own freedom, and the 21st century has just built us much shinier algorithmic waiting rooms to hide in.
They are very shiny.
But that 9-year list, The beautiful aspirations, the good china sitting in the cabinet waiting for a special occasion. It cannot stay behind the glass forever.
Because the occasion is today. Every single moment you defer is a moment of your life that you will never get back.
So, to you, listening right now, your life is not a rehearsal. The hypothetical calm you are waiting for before you finally start living, it is never going to arrive. Things do not calm down. The resistance of the world is permanent.
So if you want to test your freedom today, consider this challenge. The book doesn't state this explicitly as a homework assignment, but it's the logical conclusion of everything we've talked about.
Okay, let's hear it.
If your digital double is a flawless, algorithmic record of your past habits, predicting your every move and paving a frictionless groove for you, what is one entirely unpredicted, unalgorithmic choice you could make today?
Ooh, I like that.
No matter how small. Walk a different way home, leave your phone off for an hour, say something vulnerable instead of something ironic. Just do something to prove to the machine, and more importantly to your own plastic brain, that you are still free.
Go book the ticket to Lisbon, or at the very least, go dust off the cello. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.